Being able to write clearly is really, really important. Whether you have to take a big exam, like the IELTS or the TOEFL, or you write a lot of work emails, it's important to be able to write clearly. So today I want to go over 5 things you can do, fairly simple things you can do, tips for making your writing much more clear. Number 1, pay attention to punctuation. Punctuation. What is punctuation? The little marks we use in a sentence, periods, commas, that's punctuation. Bad punctuation in writing is one of the biggest issues for a lot of English learners, especially Chinese English learners. So if that's you, pay careful attention. So the main problem is this. A lot of students will put a space before a period or a comma. This is very easy to fix. Simply don't do that. We walked home together. It was late. Here we have 2 sentences and a period at the end of the first sentence and the end of the second. Notice that there's no space, should be no space in the correct one, before the period. But there is a space after, before the second sentence. That is correct. For a comma, well, I guess you'll just have to wait. Well, I guess you'll just have to wait. Notice that there's no space in front of the comma, but there is a space after the comma. That's correct. Now you may be thinking, such a small thing. Who cares? It's a big deal. Especially if a native English speaker is reading that, it's very, very distracting. And if it's on your resume, the resume is the paper that you may send when you're trying to get a job. It's an English resume. If that's on your resume, whew, out the window. Out the window. Probably will not be looked at seriously. Number 2, read your sentences before you continue. This is very, very basic, but it can help you fix a lot of stupid mistakes. What does that mean? That means it's a mistake, but you know the right way to do it. It's just that when you were writing, you were careless. A lot of us are careless when we write. So if you want to improve your writing, write a sentence and then just read it. If there's something that sounds weird, fix it. It may be very easy to fix. It may be very obvious. Jeremy called Ellen, who was cook dinner. If we read this again, we can easily see something is not right. But look how easy it is to fix. Who was cooking dinner? We know that. That's easy, right? We know it was cooking dinner instead of who was cook dinner. Number 3, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Actually, the correct way to say something, or the best way to say something, may be very simple. English is a language of description. There are many ways to say something. But often, saying something in a simple way is the clearest, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. Native English speakers often use simple sentences to express their ideas, even if the ideas are more complicated. Often a student will say to me, give me a very long sentence. How can I fix this? It's so hard to say. I've tried. Look at my sentence. The sentence is 500 miles long. And then I say the correct way. It's so simple. They look disappointed by how simple the correct, the clearest way to say it is. But that's English. Example, my original university was unsuitable for me, which resulted in my transferring to another university. All right, well, this is not very good. So, what's a better way to say that? I was going to a university I didn't like, so I decided to transfer. That's a lot simpler, and it's a lot clearer. And nobody will say, hey, that's not complicated enough. Nobody will say that. They'll say, oh, okay, I understand very clearly. So, did your face fall? Are you disappointed? Yes, it's much simpler, but it's much clearer. Number 4, learn other sentence types. There are many different kinds of sentences, many forms of sentences, many sentence structures. This is also called syntax, the different forms of sentences that we have, the different structures of sentences. Knowing more allows you to express yourself in lots of different ways. so you never get stuck trying to express yourself in only one way. You can try different things. Also, it keeps the person reading what you wrote from getting bored as they're reading. If every sentence looks the same, very boring to read. Here's an example. I went straight to bed because I was exhausted. Exhausted means tired. Exhausted, I went straight to bed. That one is more common for writing and not so common for speaking. But it is correct, and it's another way to say the same thing. I was so exhausted, I went straight to bed. That's another one. So that's an example of 3 different ways, 3 different sentence types that you can use to express the same idea. This is something that you can practice a lot, and when you get good at it, you become a much better writer. Finally, number 5, don't use words and phrases just because you know them. You have to know not only that word, but when that word should be used and if that word should be used by you. For example, my grandma might use words and phrases that I would never use. And also, you might use a word or phrase that has this meaning in this situation, but you wouldn't use this word in that situation, even though it has the same meaning. That's understanding the word or phrase deeply, to really understand it. Now, you can try them in, for example, if you have a class, or you're just having a conversation, sure. But if you're writing something, a work email, if you're writing an essay on an exam, don't guess and hope that you're using the word correctly. Use what you know. Here's an example. I gave erroneous information to my friend about the bus schedule, so my friend missed the bus. Erroneous means wrong, but it wouldn't be used in such a common everyday situation. This word is way too formal. It's used in other kinds of situations and not very often. Erroneous, this word. Because this is an everyday situation, it's better to just say, I gave my friend the wrong bus schedule, so he missed the bus. Again, that's simple, so it goes to the idea of speaking simply. But also, I'm using words that I know, I'm describing what I mean very clearly. So, if you want to be a better writer, pay attention to punctuation, read your sentences before you continue, keep your sentences pretty simple, learn other sentence types, better syntax, and also, if you're going to use words, make sure you really know those words. Alright, if you have any questions, please talk to me on WeChat, and I'll see you next time. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and go to cloudenglish.net where you can find lots of other videos, courses, downloads, and all kinds of other stuff that can help you improve your English.